Hello and welcome to LAAG Thirrin, Star Chat. So, Star Chat is aimed to be a summary of, well, every so often of what's happening in Star Citizen and what the major discussion points are in the forum. So if you've been away for a week, you can watch Star Chat and hopefully get up to date with what's happening in the community, especially as we're going into the future with more and more updates and faster output from SIG. So today, in 10 for the Chairman, Chris Roberts cleared up some of the things that were worrying the community, things such as the torrenting and the flight model, how the HUD is going, things like that. He goes on to say in his 10 for the Chairman 40-minute video that each ship, depending on what is attached to it, so whether there's a different size power plant, a bigger gun, things like that, will have mass, as each item has mass. So each ship, depending on the upgrades you have, will have a different mass to another ship of the same kind that has different upgrades. So each ship, depending on the person who's flying it and which upgrades they have, will have a different center of mass and will handle differently, which will affect how you fly in space, how you can turn, how many Gs you can pull, how fast you can turn in certain directions, your max speed, things like that. He also mentions overshooting, where you turn in space and you come up to your target, but you keep sort of turning, and then you overshoot and then you correct, which is annoying some of the community members. And he explains that when turning, your thrusters at the front of your ship, or depending on your turn, will fire, which will take you in that direction. And then they'll keep firing until you either slow down your turn yourself with your controls, or you take your hand off the controls. But only at that point, when you take your hand off the control, will they stop firing. But the inertia is still there, so you continue to travel in that turn, which is your overshoot. So Chris recommends that if you don't want to overshoot, that you turn quickly at the beginning of your turn, then ease out of it, and you won't overshoot as much. Also, having ComStab and G-Safe will slow you down during your turn to make it smoother, so you won't overshoot as much, but that's really up to personal preference on gameplay. HUD is being worked on, so there are some problems with the HUD, as everyone has pointed out. It's also a little cluttered sometimes and not very clear. So HUD is being worked on. Custom key bindings are also being worked on, and soon to come out in hopefully a patch or two in a couple of weeks, or very soon, will be improved joystick, gamepad, key bindings and controls. So those with HOTAS setups and various gamepads and anything but keyboard and mouse essentially will be fine-tuned in the coming weeks. Also, he mentioned that planets will have dynamic events. So PvE dynamic events, I should mention, at this stage PvE, where you might walk down an alleyway and be mugged by someone, or fist fight might break out in a tavern or bar. So you can look forward to that on planets, make planets more interesting. Now on to flight model input controls, information released today. They currently don't have any yaw consequences, like yaw G-force consequences. So at the moment you can yaw as much as you like, and you won't really black out or red out or anything like that. But in coming patches there will be consequences, because yaw doesn't really affect the body as much, but it will affect the extremities of your ship a lot. So if you yaw too hard in future patches, once they implement it, you may lose a wing or a thruster as a consequence to the G-forces on your ship. And at the moment, most fixed weapons are gimbaled, as they didn't quite implement fixed weapon leading and lagging of for your firing solution. They didn't quite get it into this 0.8 version of the dogfighting module. So in future versions, all your hardpoint class turrets and guns will come back and won't be gimbaled, so that will even up and prevent turreting as much. And now on to the community and what are the main topics in the community today. A discussion by Hans J. Marcial, if I pronounce that correctly. Time to Kill a Multiplayer. He's a bit worried that in the multiplayer that you can kill someone really quickly and easily, and he's got a bit of video evidence, a relatively long discussion. People are getting pretty fired up about it. I personally think that with time, balancing will come to the game and it may not be as fast. But at the moment I have to agree, multiplayer is quite fast. But you can further discuss that in the forum discussion page. I'll have all the links to all the things I've mentioned in my forum post, which will have a link in the description. Alright, what else do we have? We have biogerontologist. He talks about some epic moments he's had in the dogfight module against the Vandal Swarm, and I must say, reading it myself, it sounds pretty cool. I fly a 300i at the moment. I will fly a 325A, and if you always lose your engine, and it always makes for some explosive endings. So have a read of that. We also have some news on how many people have access to the multiplayer, and it's about roughly 5,000 people. It's a little hard to tell because we don't know how many people are paid testers and not from the community, but you can have a read of that small article and see for yourself. I believe they're up to citizen number 4,502, so look forward to your access to multiplayer. And we also have one more post from Dromi about turreting. He has a little video of turreting. It's a little comedic, I find. He doesn't move around, which technically is right. A turret doesn't move around, but the definition everyone's complaining about is you can fly, decouple, turn around quite quickly, fly backwards, and just direct your guns at the enemy. I believe you're a sitting duck when you do that, but people are worried about this, and it could mess up some game mechanics if that's all that happened. But again, we're very early on in development and there is much to come. And that sums up most of this week. Most of the fights between Star Citizen fans and Elite Dangerous fans have probably cleared up from today's Chris Roberts posts and things to clear up the flight model and what's happening with that. So we'll probably see less of Elite Dangerous comparisons. And that brings this episode of Star Chat to an end. I will next put out a Star Chat episode either when something major happens or when there's enough activity in the forums to create one. Otherwise it'll probably just be a weekly thing. Now if you want to be up to date with all this stuff, follow me on my Facebook, which will be linked on my YouTube channel, under this video in the description. Follow me on Facebook and subscribe as always, as that will get you the second it uploads. And look out for me on the forums. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.